from Rishikesh, Uttarakhand. I am a recent graduate from NIT Uttarakhand in computer science and engineering. And this time it was my second attempt for CAT. I scored an overall percentile of 99.88 with the sectional breakup of 95.43 in VARC, 99.9 in DILR, and 99.68 in the quantitative ability section.
Yeah, hi, Kaustubh. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Kaustubh, my name is Ankur Agrawal, and I'm a part of the EduShastra team. And we'll be discussing your profile here today and preparing you for this. So, I have an experience of mentoring the student for approximately 16 plus years for a different competitive examination, just like a CAT, GMAT, GRE, and various other government and non-government examinations, right?
Yes.
So now, Sir will be introducing himself. Yes, sir, please.
Okay, I am Vipul Parashar, and I have spent quite a lot of time in the corporate world as well as in the management. I'm actually involved with the management in EduShastra. I've been a faculty even, but most of the times right now I'm spent as in the management side. Around 12 to 13 years in corporate fields, retail industry, and even in the IT industry I've spent. Okay, and I've handled quite a lot of management roles, taken a lot of interviews and everything. And right now, I'm more involved in the management side of EduShastra. Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah, Mr. Krishan.
Yeah, hi Kaustubh. My name is Krishan. I've been
Hello,
teaching
sir.
students for the last 3 years for CAT and GMAT, and I'll be taking the mock interviews as well.
So yes, hi, Kaustubh. So Kaustubh, please introduce yourself about something which is not mentioned in your resume.
Okay, sure, sir. So, sir, I come from a rare species of people who live in a joint family, and I come
Okay.
from a city which is the yoga capital of the world. Apart from
Mm-hmm.
that, I am quite empathetic in nature. I love to help
Mm-hmm.
people. Uh, so, my undergrad at NIT UK has shaped me in a lot of ways. So, first of all,
Right.
it taught me the importance of the people. Also, it
Mm-hmm.
taught me that if we wish, we can stand for a cause, even if the entire system is against us. Also, because
Okay.
of the NIT UK itself, I became the Indian youth delegate to Kyrgyzstan under the Ministry of Youth Affairs. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, like this particular year, I mentored around 6 students for CAT 2020, and three of them
Mm-hmm.
got over 90 percentile. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Okay,
pretty much like, yes, sir.
okay.
Okay. So, Kaustubh, something about your
Yes.
academics and about your some internship and project which you have completed and done in during your graduation.
Sure, sir. So, sir, first of all, like I published 2 research papers in the field of network
Mm-hmm.
security in my final
Mm-hmm.
year. Also, like I have done like multiple projects in the field of artificial intelligence. Then we created a one particular IoT system that was used to check the fuel consumption by a particular machine.
Okay.
Also, like I did 2 internships in my third year, which were first one is both of them were the virtual internships. The first one was about mentoring the students who were having various doubts in the field of like plus 2 category.
Mm-hmm.
Second one was more of a market research thing where we need to like calculate like what are the potential market spaces for a particular startup. Yes, sir.
Yes, Vipul sir, please.
Okay. Uh, so, cost of
Yeah.
most of the business school would have around, let's say, 500 to maybe 1,000 students in a class
Yes,
in
sir.
one of the academic year.
Yes, sir.
Now, why you should be one of them?
Okay, sir. Sure. So, sir, first of all, like as I've already told you, like I'm quite calm, composed, and quite a rational person. So I think that comes pretty handy with me. Also, like I'm someone who finds deeper meaning to the things. Like I don't just believe on the surface news that's happening anywhere. So I try to find like what is the psychology behind the people that's happening over there. So like during my second year when I was the batch representative of my batch, and that was the first time like I was like managing various things and managing like the students of over 300 or 400 students. And that's when I realized that people are the like people make things happen. And like there were various shortcomings, definitely, like in terms of managing various things, managing events, managing people. And that's like when I realized why these all things were happening. And like that's the reason, I try to find the deeper meanings. Like there was someone who will find just think this particular thing doesn't happen, and that's why that's the reason of it. But I try to find why this particular thing doesn't happen, or what should I have done instead of what I regularly did. So that's what I think is my what I'll contribute differently to the class.
You think differently. That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is different in your thinking?
So, just as I've already told, I try to find deeper meanings. So, let's say there's particular thing that's happening around the world. So I try to find why people are doing this in this particular way. Why not
So why
differently?
why talk about the world? Why not talk about Uttarakhand where you live? There has
Sure,
been a
sir.
very big issue with
Yes,
big
sir.
flood,
Yes,
ecology
sir.
problems, glacier melting. Why talk about the world? Let's talk about your land.
Sure, sir.
What, let's say, if you apply the same, I would say, strengths
Sure, sir.
and apply on that. I want, let's say, not only the thinking,
Yes, sir.
I want exactly as a person who lives, I think, spent quite a lot of time in that state.
Yes, sir.
What exactly you have done for looking into that matter? Even if, let's say, I'm raising a Facebook voice or anything it might be,
Sure, sir.
you just try to use the same kind of the parameter of deeper thinking and try to use it
Sure,
in
sir.
the issue you
Okay.
you people are facing.
Sure. So, sir, I'll give you a particular instance that happened in my college. Basically, so since I'm from a new NIT, so we don't have a permanent campus as of now. So, from the past 10 years, we were residing in a temporary campus, which is based on the Polytechnic. So, what happened during my third year was there was a protest because one of our students got hit by a car and she paralyzed below her waist. So students demanded that we need a permanent campus because we have to travel from the national highway in order to go to our labs and go to our basically to do our academics to a different campus. And over there we had the protest went on for 60 to 70 days, and there was a particular instant when students said that there was a case that we have to shift from NIT Uttarakhand to NIT Jaipur in order to complete our further 2 years. Like our entire NIT Uttarakhand BTech will be transferred to NIT Jaipur, and everybody was in the favor of it because they wanted a permanent campus and everything. But I, along with couple of my friends, I basically opposed that particular notion, because what I thought was at NIT UK we had our own identity in terms of we can manage our fest, we can manage our clubs, we can manage our societies, and that's totally on us. But once we will go over there, our own identity will be lost, and also we won't be quite active in terms of managing our events, managing our co-curricular activities. So at that particular instant everyone opposed, basically they wanted a permanent campus and everything. But what happened at Jaipur was like definitely all these things are closed. We didn't there wasn't any active clubs, societies. Our fest got didn't happen. Our fest didn't happen. Our every single DG, IG, and everything didn't happen. Our sports meet didn't happen, and our own students got very confined to their own classes. Like we didn't even meet our own batchmates and everything. We are quite confined to our own rooms in the hostel. So I think that's a particular instant where I can give you an example where I thought of a deeper meaning to the things.
But didn't execute.
Yeah, definitely. So
Okay.
yeah,
So just taking cues from whatever you said.
yes, sir.
Um, so Kaustav get lost. I would say loses his identity, using your words.
Yes, sir.
Whenever he is in the crowd, or whenever he is in, let's say, bigger group. This world is a very big group.
Yes, sir.
So how, let's say, if NIT UK goes to NIT Jaipur and they
Yes,
lose their identity
yes,
in a
sir.
whatever the
Yes,
points you
yes,
said.
yes, sir.
Now after this NIT, you will move to the world,
Sure, sir.
and there will no groups. There will be costs who
Yes, sir.
will be standing alone.
Yes, sir.
So if a person will lose, a group lost his identity when it was added or I would say grouped with some other group.
Yes, sir.
So how exactly as an individual will stand out? I
Oh,
understand that
sure, sir. Sure, sir.
you had a very good CAT score,
Yes,
but then
yes.
also as an individual, as a I would say the EQ facet, how you will stand out?
Sure, sir. So, sir, first of all, whatever you said, I didn't want to say it lost its own identity and ITUK lost its identity, but in terms of the various activities that were happening at the Srinagar campus, they didn't happen at the Jaipur campus. Also, that's one particular reason for it. We just had 500 students, and at NIT Jaipur they had around 6,000 students. So definitely, there there is a term to in order to we can't have everything that we were doing at Srinagar. So talking about my own self, just to tell you, I was quite a I've already told I come from a joint family and I'm a single child to my parents. So I was quite a shy and quite a pampered kid during my school days. And when I went to NIT UK, so I was someone who didn't like to talk to people, put forward his points, or had a stage fear, which I truly today also have. But I have improved a lot during that particular uh, during that 3 or 4 years. So definitely that's not the case that I'll lose my identity. I think every particular person is unique in his or her terms. I can bring something, I'm quite unique in terms of something. Definitely other person, other 3 or 400 students that will be coming to the campus will be quite unique. Everyone will be facing a new circumstances which they haven't faced till yet. So I don't think when I'll go to a B school I'll be losing my identity, but definitely I'll learn a lot of new things from the lot of new people, whether it be in terms of acads co-curricular or in terms of or knowing other people who are far maybe greater than me or lesser than me. But definitely it's not the case that I'll lose my identity or something like that.
Okay. What are your short and long term goals?
Sure, sir. So sir, after the B school.
Yes, yes.
Sure,
Let's say
sir.
5 years down the line,
Okay,
short
sir.
term,
Okay,
30
sir.
years down the line, long term.
Okay, sir. So sir, in a short term I want to get into a genuine firm where I'll be learning the various domains of an organization, so that I can pick one particular field for my own. As So in the short term I want to get into a general management firm and want to learn about the various domains of an organization. And on a longer term, that's of 20 to 30 years, I wish to work for an organization which contributes equally to its employees and to the underprivileged section of the society. So, sir, 5 years down the line, I would have choose my particular stream or choose my particular domain in which I wanted to work as as a manager for a particular organization. And 30 years down the line, I wanted to run my own organization
Okay.
where I can contribute equally to the society as well. On a
Okay.
personal level, I think that's what I want to do.
Okay. See, helping a society comes as a very second step. If you the first point is you should be able to help others. If I am not, I haven't risen to a level where I can help others. So the first task is I'll make myself, and the second task is I'll help others. First of all, you have to save yourself. Then rather than then you would be able to save the others, isn't it? So
No,
my point is, when you're looking for any entrepreneurship kind of a journey, what exactly you are looking at? What are the main objectives you have in that journey?
so, sir, first of all, I'd like to differ with you on this particular thing. Like, you said that we have to be successful in terms of helping others. If we want to help others, we have
And
to
not
be
successful, not
you
successful.
have to consider yourself first, then you can help the others.
Correct.
But I think even today, though I was I think I'm from quite a privileged society, privileged background, and there are various students who are not so privileged as me. So like even during my school days or during my college days, as we went to eat outside, there were various kids who used to sit outside the Burger King or Domino's, just looking inside like other people are having and everything. And for them, like even one time meal was more than enough. So I think over there also, like I used to, and I along with one of my friend used to help them. Like every weekend we used to go over there. We used to pass on the burgers and everything to them. So I think that's not the case that I think like I'll do it after 30 years also, but definitely like 30 years down the line, I think I'll be contribute much more than what I'm doing right now. So even today, like on a like monthly basis, I contribute some part of my salary to the various NGOs that are there in this, whether it be contributing to the senior citizens or the underprivileged persons. So I think like 30 years down the line, I'll be able to contribute more towards them. That's what like my personal goal is. Definitely like I also want to contribute towards the society, like in terms of what the employees are in my organization, but that's like my ultimate goal. Yes.
Okay. See, that's what I was saying. You repeated my points only. Um, when you, as a student, if you do
Yes,
something,
sir.
as you
Yes, sir.
said, the Domino's or pizzas or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
or the burgers you said,
yeah.
is that the privilege earned by you? The answer is no. This is a privilege you're using of your family, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the point proved that you had something. That's how why you were able to give.
Yeah.
Now, when you're earning,
Yes, sir.
when you're earning, the same scenario happened.
Yes.
You earned,
Yeah.
that's why you helped. How does in these goals or objectives
Yes, sir.
the business school stands? Why us? Why you have come to this particular business school for achieving your long as well as the short term goals?
Sure, sir. So, sir, there are basically two reasons for it. Like, first, I already said that I, during my undergrad, like, I experienced that it's the people that matters the most. It's not the technology, it's not the finances, it's not the idea. Basically, it's the people that makes the things happen. So I think like currently I'm having knowledge about the technology, and I think getting into a B school will give me the overall holistic view about how an organization works and how its people think. So that's one particular reason for it. Secondly, like when I got into Capgemini, I realized that there are basically two teams that completes a particular project. So the first one is the technology team, and the second one is the functional team. So as I currently didn't know what functional team does and how they approach their particular work, I think that's also a particular reason. Like I'll get a broader view how an organization works basically. So I just want to learn like how an organization work as an overall and how various domains contribute to its success.
So, Mr. Krishnan,
Yeah. So Kaustubh, you are from the computer science background,
Yes, sir.
and in your resume you have written that you are proficient in C and C++.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can you tell me the difference between C and C++?
Sure, sir. So, sir, initially C came, then C++ is basically an advanced version of it. So C++ has some of the features that C doesn't. So first of all, in C++, object-oriented programming can be done, while in C, it can't be done. Secondly, in C++, there are various libraries that can be used, while in C, you don't have any particular library for it. So what it means is that let's say there is a particular function and that's being used on a daily basis. So we create a library for all these particular functions, and we can directly call that particular library to use that particular function. So that particular functionality is not there in C. So these are the two major like the differences between C and C++.
So can you tell me like some of the recent applications in which the C or C++ is being used or used for programming?
So for me or the organizations that are
Like
there.
you can talk about overall, like where C or C++ is currently used for that.
Okay, sir. So like C and C++ are not being like used as of now, like in an organization on a daily basis, because like we have moved far away from them. But like talking about some of the applications that I build. So there was a particular application on the reservation system management. So that was a project that I did back earlier. So in that I used the C++ object oriented methodology, where I created a class for the reservations. So it's basically a prototype of the IRCTC, what IRCTC does, but at a very small scale.
Okay. If I talk about like as you are from technical background, so what is the difference between Android and Apple OS?
So Apple and Android,
Yeah, Apple OS,
like
like
in
Apple
terms of
operating
their,
system. Like if I talk
yeah.
about it, not the general viewpoint, like from a technological viewpoint, like what is the difference between them?
So first of all, sir, talking about the Apple UI, so it's highly integrated with the Apple devices, which is not the case with the Google operating system. What it means is that since Apple creates own hardware and own softwares, so and they are working on it for like the past 10 years or 10 or so years, so they know how to fix the bugs exactly for their particular device, and they can integrate it pretty well, which is not the case with the Android operating system. Also Android, sorry, iOS operating system is quite well in terms of the security purpose. So that's why the first world are mostly using the Apple devices, not the uh, Android devices. So these are the two functionalities that I'll say to
Okay.
that makes
You are
them
saying that
quite
basically
different.
Apple build their own hardware and software for that, right?
Yeah.
They
Yes, sir.
use that only in their systems. Like if I talk about iPhone, if I talk about Mac also, if I talk about iPad also.
Yes, sir.
Apple was actually from the last year, like if I talk about this year also, so Apple is using the Samsung devices also. Like
Hmm.
Samsung motherboard is basically used particularly. If I talk about the Mac also, if I talk about the if I talk about the iPhones also, but Samsung, if I talk about the Samsung on the other hand, it uses Android OS. Not it doesn't uses the
Yes, sir.
Apple OS, right?
Yes, sir.
So what's your viewpoint on that? Like why Samsung doesn't move on? Like why Apple does not like uses some other hardwares and then also uses its own operating system only?
So, talking about why Samsung doesn't use the iOS, it's basically the privilege that Apple hasn't given it to anyone else apart from its own company. Secondly, like talking about why Apple is not using any other motherboard apart from the Samsung, I think the main reason to it is also about first of all the quality that Apple offers. Like if you are going for an high-end devices which cost around like a lakh or so, definitely you want something that is quite secure, quite feasible in terms of what you're offering it to the general public. So and Samsung is definitely known for its quality and everything. So that can be a major reason. Also, talking about the other thing, like other motherboards, most of them comes from the Chinese market, Huawei and everything. And recently, US government proposed to not to use Hawaii and everything. So that can also be a reason why they moved on to Samsung and
Okay. Ankush sir.
Yeah, hi, Custom.
hello, sir.
So, Costa, we are talking about the difference in C, C++, and giving us some properties of C and C++, various
Yes,
different
sir.
properties, right? So, Costa, in a C++, we have a two concept. One is we call as a data encapsulation,
Yes, sir.
right? And
Yes, sir.
second is data hiding.
Sorry, sir.
Data hiding. Second is a
Yes, sir.
data hiding,
Yes, sir.
right? So, can you differentiate between these two concepts? What are the differences between these two concepts? One is the data hiding, and the other is the
Yes, sir.
data encapsulation.
Sure, sir. So, sir, talking about the data encapsulation, it
Mhm,
means to bind the data together in a one particular capsule so that
mhm,
it cannot be interfered by an external medium through it. So let's
mhm,
say I'm talking about a normal example for it. Let's say I'm building a car. So the car frame is basically encapsulating every single component of it. So when
mhm,
the car frame comes, it's the inside of it contains the engines, the seats, the surface, the lights, and everything. So that can be an example of the encapsulation.
mhm,
Secondly, what that data hiding means in the OOPS concept is data abstraction, if
mhm,
I'm not wrong. So that means to hide the data. So basically, in a particular class, there are three different types of functionalities that are being used. The first one is the private, then the protect, uh, and then the public. So
Right.
what abstraction mean is that you hide some of the key features of it from the normal user and keeps it public to, like, if I want to say, if I'm using a particular website, so your password is being hidden from the normal users and
Mm-hmm.
it's being stored while your normal profile is being publicly available to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So there you can differentiate between like what private data is and what public data is. So your password is private while your photo, your status is and your pictures are a public data.
Right. So, what do you think, like in a modern era, as we are talking
Yes, sir.
about the securities and everything?
Yes, sir.
So, how these languages like JavaScript, Python, R, so which do you think is the most secure and the most protective language?
So, sir, talking about like whether it's like whether it's secured from an intruder, that also depends on who is creating that particular software. So
Mm-hmm.
that totally depends on the software, like the developer who is making it. Secondly, there are various like applications that are being that can be used to protect your software. So as we know,
Mm-hmm.
firewalls are there, VPNs are there, and whether using then various network security operations, various algorithms that are being used in order to protect that your data from being transferred to a third party. So I
Right.
think like talking about which particular language is most secure, that is not like it's not possible to say it on a regular basis, like whether Java is more secure or whether Python is more secure. That totally depends on where you are using it and who is
Mm.
developing the software.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Yes, Vipul sir, please.
Yes. So, of course, there's a saying, um, if you teach a man,
Yes, sir.
you are teaching an individual.
Sure.
But if you teach a woman, you're
Hmm.
teaching a nation. So, what's your opinion? What's your views on it?
Sir, I think this can be partially correct based on the previous decades that we had, like because when you teach a woman, I think women or mother plays a vital role in the upbringing of a particular person. So if like a mother is educated, she can transfer her knowledge to her childrens as well. But I think like the in the modern thinking, I think even men or it be women both contributes equally to the upbringing of the society. Like except the rural area where it's still difficult for women to go into a school or on higher education. But if we talk about the urban cities, definitely it's not the case. But if we talk about the rural areas where the uh, literacy rate is not yet high and people are not yet educated, so definitely there is the case, like that's the case, like because women plays a vital role in the bringing of the of its children. That's why this particular quote has been quoted.
Okay. Acha, now there have been many. Uh, we can let me ask some political questions now. Uh,
Sure, sir.
we are using EVMs in elections, and
Yes, sir.
most of the opposition parties actually claim that they basically are not in very favor of EVMs. So, but then also government insists on having EVMs over and over again in many of the elections we had. So many of the developing countries, even developed countries, just like UK, they have banned EVMs.
Yes, sir.
So why exactly, what do you think, why we are still continuing with the same system? Why are we using the same system over and over again?
Sure, sir. So, sir, talking about the opposition parties, that what they do while whenever they lose a particular election, that's just like according to me, like whenever in a particular state an opposition party loses, it states that EVM has been hacked or there has been like some of the data transfer that happened at the EVM. While whenever they win, they doesn't care about it. So I don't think I don't want to give it a political touch as of now, like what political parties think. But definitely talking about why our government is still using, or the election commission is still using the EVM. So, like definitely we can use blockchain in order to collect our data, collect our votes. But I think our government or our election commission don't have the belief on the blockchains yet, because that also depends on the developer that they are hiring. Because in the Western countries where the technology is quite like a decades like after us, like they are, we lack in terms of technology from them. I think that's the main reason why we are not transferring to the other sources of databases. But EVM is basically also a database where we are storing the data of the people who are voting in. Definitely are like in 10 years or so we will transfer it to the blockchain, which is more secure way to transfer the data. But there, as we have various instances where we know that anything that's on the internet can be hacked. So that can be one notion why election commission is not moving into the blockchain or the other sources of databases.
So coming to the second part of the point now, uh, we say, even Albert Einstein used to say,
Yes.
imagination is more important than knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Okay, your views.
Sure, sir. Like, definitely, like, imagination is more important, because whenever, like, the first thing in order to have something is to imagine something. Like, even science says, like, you have to question every single, like, thing in the world. And even like, if you, the first step to everything is imagination. So I think that's what Albert Einstein meant from them. Also, like there are various, like in the various organizations, what's happening over here is that they are like giving rewards in terms of people who are thinking and making failures out of them. Like in Tata, what we recently saw was that they were rewarding the people who are making the mistakes. And mistakes only happen when you imagine something, you do it, and then you get failed. Because what failure taught us more than what success does. So definitely, his notion was pretty correct.
Okay. Achha, coming to your now, the point, like many of school, colleges, even a company might
Yes,
have many policies, procedures. Can you recount any incident in your
yes.
past life, maybe school, maybe college, or maybe even the job, the company you're working with, where you disagreed with any policy, and what exactly you did around it? What exactly were your reactions to it?
Sir, can I have a minute to think of?
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir. So, sir, like in my college, when I was a student member, like a student council member. So over there, since our college is was pretty new, like it had just had 6 or 7 years. So the policies over there were still like improving a lot. So in one particular, like there was a one particular policy in our college where, like if a student wished to visit another campus, like in order to have a competition or something like that, then the process was quite huge. That you have to assign a faculty mentor for it. Then you'll take away all your bills. Then you'll like do everything. Then you'll submit it to the dean. Then if it will get accessed or it get permission from the departments, then you'll get the payback. So what we did over there was, along with the dean, definitely we said that students needs to be paid some initial amount so that he or she can book his or her ticket. Because definitely not every single person or not every single student can like initially pay 20 or 30,000 and then wait for 3 or 4 months to get his or her money back. Because there were definitely multiple students who had taken loan in order to pay for their like education. So that was one particular thing where we basically provided some initial amount to the student so that he can book his or her ticket and get some initial amount from it, and later on can get half of the money back through the entire process when the entire process happens.
Okay, Mr. Krishna.
So, Kaustav, one thing, you have made a project on, I think, stock price,
Sir.
right? Like
Yes,
how
sir.
to basically predict the stock price of a company.
Yes, sir.
Like, so how basically that worked? Because if I talk about the stock price, so it basically depends on the company's performance, right? Like how the company
Yes,
is
sir.
performing and everything. And that is like, if we can, like, if I talk about the prediction of the stock price, so it all depends on the company's performance, and that is all the inside information. So
Yes, sir.
how basically you worked on that?
So basically, sir, we took the stocks of Alphabet from 2004 till 2017, which was freely available, and we trained our model on the basis of every single day's like what was the price that it opened and at what price it closed. So on the basis of that, we trained our model for these or 13 years. So for every single day that it had happened. So we basically first trained our model for on these 13 years. Then we calculated our calculated the value of the upcoming stocks for the rest 2 months that were there. So this we did on the basis of the recurrent neural network and the LSTM processes that are there in the machine learning. So definitely like our accuracy like wasn't going to be 100% or something, because stock market definitely runs on the sentiments, and as you already said, the performances, or it can be manipulated on a very single day. But like we tried our best to calculate it, and we reached an accuracy of over 95%. So I think that was pretty good.
So, Kaustav, everything was okay and all the answers were properly done. But like as you started in your introduction that I am a Kaustav and I am a say city of the yoga capital of the world, right?
Yes, sir.
So I think you forgot to mention the name, that is Rishikesh,
So I
right?
thought that will become redundant, like if I'll sell from a city which is the yoga capital of world, then
Yeah, so but basically, see, when there are person and when you're going for a say all these interviews, so there are many South Indian, many Northeast, and different profile and different background persons are there. Sometimes they are coming from abroad also, right? So it
yes,
is
sir.
better like you should mention, yes, this is a yoga capital, and this is Rishikesh, and this is having a say some patriotic value. This is having a say some other values also, right? So just give us a one or two line explaining the importance of the place, right?
Sure, sir.
Because you say hey, you are a man of the good thing, and then Vipul sir was asking like hey, you just talk about the uh, issues and concerns of your own state, that is the melting of glaciers, cutting of trees and everything, and deforestations and everything, right? So it
Yes,
is
sir.
better to mention this.
Sure,
And
sir.
second thing, like in case of using say acronyms, like you use UK many times, right?
Hmm.
This is a one example, and say in a language also, when Krishna sir was asking, so you use a DBMS and all these. Like in place of using acronyms, use the elaborated form like
Sure, sir.
UK,
Hmm.
Uttarakhand, DBMS is database management system, right? So in this, what you can extend the time duration, and in a back of mind, you will be getting a time to think further, like what you want to say, what can be the proper answer, right? So you will be getting a time, and in that you are also attracting the attention of the person, because see all these things are very minor thing, like talking about DBMS, talking about C++ difference and everything. So they know all these things, right? So what is there sometimes when you're talking all these things, so they think that okay, yes, this person will be talking about something very important in some next statements. So they pay attention to what you are talking,
Sure,
right?
sir.
So
Yep.
in a way, you can put in your impression, you can put in your say thoughts in the mind of the person, and you can give your impression so that okay, when you leave the room, they have a say something. Yes, this person was talking about this, and they have a, some impression left over behind you.
Okay, sir.
Right? And third, I want like you everything is good, but practice a little flow.
Yes, sir.
Because in a talking and discussion, you're using a two fillers. That is, one is a I think, and second is a like.
Okay.
Right. So these fillers are what like this give us some impression that a person has not properly done the homework, and the person is currently in a some framing of the statements using the fillers,
Okay, sir.
right? So
Okay.
otherwise everything is good. Otherwise everything. Vipul sir, please.
See, because in the scale of 1 to 5, I'm rating it somewhere around 2.5 to 3. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What are the takeaways? Okay. What are the main things you should be taking out of this interview? See, number one, uh, business schools looks at analytical points rather than
Yeah.
subjective points. Rather, I always say business school is all about numbers, all about analytics, rather than any subjectivity attached to the things. In many of your answers, the answers are very holistic answers, like just like the politicians talk. अच्छा होगा, everything will be fine. अच्छे दिन आएंगे, something like that, where there is no numerical things.
Hmm.
See, the idea of a business school is if I'm speaking something, the first thing which I have to always keep in mind is I have to talk about the full story, okay, and I have to be numerical in it, in or analytics or analytical into it. I'll give an example. I did very good in my job. I achieved my sales target. The sales earlier was let's say 100 rupees, and because of me, it reached 200 rupees. So I'm giving a full story that what it was. Vithi Vidhi Vini. I came, I saw, I conquered. So that kind of a story should be there where much of analytics is used. Okay. The second point, the most important point is three questions should have a very precise answers. Prepare for these three questions. The three questions are why MBA,
Yes.
why you, and why us. These three questions are the three pillars on which every interview will stand. Reason being, till the time you are not clear about these three things, that is why MBA, why Kaustubh, and why IMC or why IMA or why Harvard or whatever the school you might be in. See, people are not, see, try to understand. Many of the in the job interviews, even in the business school interviews, people feel that we are not looking for the best individual. We are not, people are not choosing the most intelligent, the most stronger, the most I would say beautiful face, nothing of that. So people are looking at fitment. It is just like a lock and key. So the keys for one lock, only one key is good. All other are not good. As simple as that, it is a fitment people are looking at. So the question is, if you're very clear about why MBA, why you and why they, then you have done your part. Number two, if you are looking, if you are in the interview, obviously you have proved your IQ. So this interview is all about your EQ. EQ means the emotional quotient point, not the intelligence points. So when we talk about the EQ facets, you should try to bring the talk to the EQ facet, which makes Kaustubh different from me, Mr. Krishnan, Mr. Ankur. Okay, let's say we all are 99% scorers. Why out of all these four people, why we should be choosing Mr. Krishnan or me or you? It's a EQ facet. Okay. Number three, whenever you go to any business school or even a job, try to see what exactly they are looking for rather than me presenting the best picture. I am very intelligent. I have I have a gold medal from there. I have been a topper from there. People are not looking at it. Actually, people are looking at the fitment you're bringing in and just try to see what they are focusing upon. Business school always focuses on 5 things. The first is the leadership facet. The second thing is the management and organizational facet. The third is the entrepreneurship facet. The fourth thing is your creativity and problem solving facet. The last is the EQ facet. So it is a fitment rather than the best individual winning it. It's not a best individual winning, it's the best fitment who's winning it. The best fit guy in that. Okay. So what business school is looking at? Business school is looking at 2 major factors. The diversity you bring to the class. You are an engineer. 90% of people are engineers in the business school. So what sets you apart as an engineer? So that opportunity, when I talked about the floods, the UK, Uttaranchal floods and all, so that was an occasion where the EQ points would have been brought to the fore.
Like in the question that you asked, like what will you do 30 years down the line? So that's pretty like how can you say that what I want to do 30 years down the line, and even you wanted an answer that is pinpoint, like I'll do something like this. So let's say I'll say I want to open an organization that works in this particular field, but we don't know whether that technology will be there or not 30 years down the line. So how to answer that, like how to pinpoint on something?
See, actually you authenticated what I was saying. See, listen, whenever any questions comes about short or a long-term goals, that's why try to keep the discussion into skill sets. Okay. Number 2, if I go to a business school only for learning a skill set, maybe talent you may call it, maybe you may call it skills or whatever, not knowledge. Okay. You are not doing you're not becoming a scientist. A manager is a smart work. Management is a smart work rather than a knowledge work. Okay. Now coming to the second point. If I'm taking any journey, whatever it might be, that journey can only mean something if I know where exactly I'm heading to, whatever it might be. It might be why people struggle with these type of answers is because the answer is very clear in their mind that they are going to have a good career, maybe to earn better, to have a good life. That's why I said try to concentrate on the skill sets rather than, that's why the answer becomes very difficult, because what was the question, what was the solution you had, what was the answer we have? We want to be I would say the best life we want to have. Okay, but then if I would have been into the skill sets, if let's say I'm looking at an entrepreneurship journey, entrepreneurship is not about you said some software being discovered or something like that. Entrepreneurship is all about these facets which I talked about. You are a idea generator, then you lead the people into it. You need a management and organizational skill sets for it. Obviously, the problems will keep on coming on a daily basis, so problems and creativity comes into it. So that's why I was talking about the skill sets and then attaching it to your long-term goals, whatever it might be in entrepreneurship. I was not trying to say which IT industry you will open. Will it be a service industry? Will it be a product industry? Or what kind of will you make phones? Will you make a software of it? That's not the question actually. The question was to help you align with your skill set rather than making a very subjective point like I want to have my own company. Everyone wants to have their own company. Everyone wants to be richer. You understand? Everyone wants to be the most handsome or beautiful person in the world. Why there's a difference between two people, the difference is the plan. The difference is the execution. Everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants to earn. Everyone wants to be be Apple or a Microsoft. Okay, that's why I was trying to bring the whole discussion into skills rather than holistic discussions of I want to be the Prime Minister of India. Everyone wants to be Prime Minister of India. Even I want to be. But the point is, what the plan? What exactly are the skill sets needed for it? What exactly is my a kind of a growth plan, or a kind of a how will I reach that destination of mine, and that the milestones every year which will take me to maybe that destination, maybe the Prime Minister of India, or maybe the CEO of Microsoft, or whatever it might be. So the idea is, as I told you, it's the best fitment rather than the best person winning it. Okay. In overall scenarios, most of the answers were more holistic and subjective rather than analytical. I'll work with the society. I'll be an entrepreneur, but where exactly, what exactly I would be doing, no ideas about it. The last point is, start talking about the skill sets rather than what I would be. I want to be a scientist. I want to be into NASA, or I want to be a leader in France, blah, blah, blah. This is a subjective point. You are going to a business school for a skill set, and try to make your answers very, I would say, which talks about the skill sets you're looking for.
Yeah, cause everything was fine for that. Like just one thing, like if you talk about whenever you're talking about the profile part and everything,
Yes.
just be detailed about it. Just talk about the examples which you have. Like if you talk about the college experience, if you talk about your internship also, if you talk about the work also. So whenever you're answering something, just try to inculcate that in that particular answer. Like just give examples from your internship, just give examples from a project, just give examples from a work experience also. That will help you a lot for that. Because as sir were also telling, like everyone wants to hear about the analytics part. Like just they want to hear about your experience. Like what is your experience with that particular thing, and you should present your answer according to that, not according to what you think actually. Like it's about what have you experienced about that, and what is your thoughts about that. That's all it about, right?